Hello and good morning to all. Welcome back to your computer class. It is the fourth part of our chapter, that is types of hardware. In this part we have to discuss about the input devices. Well, it is the second part of our input devices. In the first part we have discussed about some basic components. In the first part we have discussed about keyboard, mouse, microphone, scanner, concept keyboards and touch screens. In this particular part we have to discuss about these 6 special and specific input devices which are very important, and these are generally used in various industries, organizations and offices. Now let's see what are these and their uses. The first that we have to discuss is barcode reader. Well, as from the name it is clear, this specific input device will read or scan the barcodes. You might have seen that whenever we purchase something from market, whether it is a packet of a biscuit or any clothing item, in everything we have a barcode, something like this. Fine. This barcode generally carries some coded information or the batch number of the product that we are purchasing. Now, for the authentication of the product or for marking of the product, in the shops they used to scan this barcode by using a reader, and that reader is something like this. So this reader is termed as our barcode reader device. Fine. So a barcode is used to read barcodes which can be found on products in shop. The barcode uses laser to identify the position and thickness of the bars. Fine. In this barcode, from this area a laser light emits, and this laser light generally reads these thick and thin lines, and then it codes or decodes this particular line to the numerical form. Fine. So generally you will find this barcode at the back of every packet that we have, whether you are having a book or any box, at the back of everything we have these barcodes. Fine. Next we have QR code reader. Well, generally in this modern era these QR codes are very popular. You can find these QR codes everywhere. Fine, whether it's your bank account, your UPI ID, your Paytm ID or your Phone Pay or your Bhim ID. For everything we have to use these QR code these days. This QR code stands for quick response code. Fine, this QR code stands for quick response code. It is similar to a barcode, but the only difference is that in a barcode we can only store some limited numbers, whereas in a QR code you can scan multiple numbers or multiple characters. Fine, it can store up to 4000 characters in this coded segment. Fine. Well, if you will code this QR code, you will get to know the details of my YouTube channel. You can scan it and check it once also. Fine. So generally in these QR codes we can store multiple informations. These informations can be your Aadhaar number, your bank account number, your name, address, email ID. Fine. It can be your personal identification QR code also. So we can use these QR codes for various applications. Fine. So a QR code or a quick response code is a two-dimensional barcode. Fine. It is a two-dimensional barcode that is readable by smartphones. Fine. It means by any smartphone we can read or scan these QR codes. It allows to encode over 4000 characters in a two-dimensional barcode. It means in this little picture we can store up to 4000 characters. Fine. QR code may be used to display text, to open a URL, save a contact to the address book, or to compose text messages. Fine. So generally you can find these QR codes in your Paytm IDs, Bhim ID, UPI ID or in your Aadhaar cards. Fine. And in this QR code we have some information regarding our documents or our identification. Fine. We can scan these QR codes by using a QR code reader, or nowadays we have some applications in our phones that we can use, and by the use of these applications we can also scan these QR codes. Fine. So over here we have a picture of our QR code reader. Fine. So there are two types of QR code reader. First one looks something like this, and the other one is similar to our barcode reader. It means in that other one there will be a simple handle like reader, something like this. Fine. Then next we have magnetic strip reader. Well, I think that you all must have seen a credit card or a debit card. In a credit card or in a debit card we have a magnetic strip. As you can see in this picture over here, it's a card and in this card we have a magnetic strip over this side. Fine. This magnetic strip contains some data or some credentials about our important information. Now, for making this information secure, these data items are generally written in a magnetic strip in a coded form. And for reading these data items, some special devices are used, and these special devices are termed as magnetic strip readers. Fine. Nowadays we can use these cards as our key cards for accessing a room. We can use these cards as a card of our safe also. Fine. And we can also use them as our ATM or debit card. Okay. So a magnetic strip can be found on the basis of many credit cards, security cards of hotel rooms to gain access to the rooms. Data is encoded generally magnetically on the strip and read by a machine as it is swiped. It means for reading this data we have to swipe this card to this machine. Fine. Over here we have a simple magnetic strip reader, whereas over here we have a POS magnetic strip reader, which is generally used by banks or shopkeepers for making bank transactions. Fine. Next we have OMR or optical mark reader. Fine. Generally you have seen that whenever we give any competitive exam such as any GK quiz or any other competition where we have multiple choice type questions, in that competitive exams we have to fill a OMR sheet. In this OMR sheet we have multiple options that we have to select. Fine. So generally for all these objective based competitive exams where we have these multiple choice type questions, we have some options like A, B, C, D, E. Fine. And in this OMR sheet we have to fill the correct circle of the correct option by using either a pencil or a black pen. Fine. So generally when we do so, we select our correct answer by filling that particular circle. Now for reading these OMR sheets, a special device is used, and that special device is termed as optical mark reader or OMR reader. Fine. In this OMR reader we have to insert our answer sheet from one side, and it will simply scan the answer sheet and return it from the other side. Fine. Inside this OMR scanner or in this OMR reader, it works on the concept of absorption and reflection of light. Fine. So what it generally does, it will send some, or it will simply, you can say that, produce some light over your answer sheet. Well, after that your correct answers or the answers that you have filled or the dark options will absorb the light, whereas all the answers which you have not circled, these answers will reflect back the light. Fine. Now from all the remaining options which are reflecting back the light, these options will be considered as not corrected or marked options, whereas all the options which will absorb the light, these options will be marked as your correct answers. Fine. Now this machine checks the pattern from the stored pattern, and if your pattern will match, then you will get the marks for that question, otherwise you will not get marks for that particular question. Fine. Generally it is used in objective type questions or surveys where we have to select our answer from multiple options. Fine. So OMR can read marks at designed positions such as OMR sheets. You can use to answer questions on a multiple choice exam paper or survey. Fine. It works on the concept of absorption and reflection of light. Fine. I hope that you have got this much. Now next one is OCR or optical character reader. This OCR is similar to our OMR, but the only difference is that in OMR we use that device for checking the objective type questions, whereas in the OCR we will scan any printed document to convert that printed document back to the simple soft copy format. Now let's take an example. Suppose I have a page of book. Now I want to convert that page of book to a document file where I can edit the text. So for that purpose I can use a optical character reader or any OCR device. This OCR device will not only scan my text but it will also convert that scanned image to a text format where I can copy, paste, edit or delete the text as per my wish. Fine. So OCR can read a printed document and converts it into a editable text. It is used to convert hard copy document or printed copy to soft copy document, that is computer copy or digital copy. It converts the images to document format. Fine. And it will convert your image formats to RTF or doc format. This RTF is a format of our WordPad file, whereas doc is a format of our document or MS Word file. Fine. So generally we have two types of OCR scanner. First one looks something like this, and other scanner is similar to our simple scanner. Fine. Nowadays we have some mobile applications through which we can use our mobile's camera as a OCR. Fine. And one more important thing is you can also use Google Lens. Fine. Nowadays we have an app in our phone which is termed as Google Lens. We can use this Google Lens app for this OCR purpose. It means by using a Google Lens we can simply convert any printed text to a typed text or into a digital copy. Fine. Next we have MICR or Magnetic Ink Character Reader. Well, let's take an example first, then we will discuss this. Fine. Generally you might have seen that in a check we have some numbers written in the bottom. Fine. In every check we have some numbers written on this bottom section. Fine. These numbers are a coded information about our check. Fine. These numbers carry some important information. Here the first 6 digits are the check number. Then we have 9 digits. These are some coded form. Then we have the account ID. Then we have some transaction code. Well, in the middle of this we have this MICR code. This MICR code is an authentication code of our check and our account number. Fine. If you are giving a valid check to your bank, then this MICR code will be valid. But if you are giving a fake check, in that case this code will not match to the code in the database. Fine. Generally this code is written with a special ink or it is printed with a special ink, and that special ink is magnetic ink. And this magnetic ink can only be read by some special devices or some special readers, and these readers are termed as magnetic ink character readers. Fine. So over here the device that you are able to see, this device is a magnetic ink character reader. Fine. In this device we have to put our check from this side. It will simply scan the check and return it from you this side. Fine. Now let's read. MICR can read magnetized ink characters. As you can see on the bank checks, MICR is generally used to read magnetic ink characters which are printed in checks, drafts and government papers. Fine. This magnetic ink is also printed in drafts, government papers and some other official documents. Fine. Next we have light pen. This light pen is generally used by graphic designers. Fine. Or those individuals who have to work with some graphical data where accuracy is much more required. Fine. So light pen is just like a mouse. It is a light sensitive input device. Fine. It will behave same as a mouse, but the best thing is that with this light pen we can easily control our mouse or our mouse pointer like we are controlling with a pen. Fine. So light pen is a light sensitive input device. It's shaped like a pen. It is used to draw on computer screen or to make menu selections. Fine. Our light pen looks something like this. Fine. It can either have a RJ45 connector or it can either have a USB connector also. Fine. But nowadays these light pens are not used. Instead of using these light pens we have some touchscreen displays, or we can also use some graphical tablets. Fine. It was all about the input devices that we have to learn. Now we have some 4 majorly used input devices that you might have used in your daily life. These 4 input devices are joystick, trackball, graphic tab and web camera. Generally for playing game, fine, we have to use this special kind of controller which is termed as a joystick. Fine. In this joystick we have multiple buttons and then we have this movable head. Fine. Next we have a trackball. This trackball is generally used for navigation purpose, or it is generally used for controlling the pointer of our mouse. Fine. Over here we have a ball like structure. We have to move this ball to change the position of our cursor. Fine. Next we have this graphic tab. As I have told you earlier, nowadays we don't use light pen. So instead of using a light pen, we can use this graphics tab for writing on a display. Like suppose I have to write something, so for writing that I can use a graphics tab. Fine. Then next we have camera or a webcam. Well, for performing video conferencing or for recording yourself, you can use a camera or any webcam, and it is also a type of input device. Now in this video we have covered all the remaining input devices, and this is all for today. In our next video we have to discuss all the output devices with their features and their types. Fine. So till then you can keep learning. Kindly read your books once very carefully, and don't forget to upload your first chapter notes in the Google Classroom app. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy and stay safe.